So this guy who had almost $0 in his bank account all of a sudden became a baller overnight just because of one small ATM mistake and glitch that happened. Welcome to Tales with the Chief, and today we are going to be taking you to Australia and telling you about the story of one bartender. His name is Saunder. If you love this kind of story, do support this channel by subscribing to the channel, like this video, share this video, drop your comment at the end of the video. So let's dive into the story proper. In 2011, in Waggaratha, a small town in Victoria, Australia, Saunder is 29 years old, working as a bartender and earning about $700 a week, and ironically spending most of it drinking at the very pub or beer parlor that he worked in. Classic story. The man serving the drinks to everyone but struggling himself, right? One night, Dan and his friend are out having a good time together. Drinks, laughter, the usual. But Dan's already spent all his money, so he walked over to the ATM that was close by, a National Australia Bank machine, just to check his account balance to see what is left in his account. And the screen showed that he just had $3 on it. But that's basically like nothing. And of course, he has been spending all night. So instead of admitting his fate and just going somewhere else, maybe go home, he tried to transfer $200 from his credit account into his savings account. And then the machine told him transaction cancelled. That was not even surprised. After all, he doesn't even have money. He was broke at that point, spending all the money all night drinking. But then he checked his account balance. The account balance that had $3 on it before now had $203, meaning $200 miraculously had added to it. The transaction that supposedly cancelled had already gone through. Now, Dan pulled up some cash, walked back into the bar, and continued his night as if nothing strange has happened. But Dan kept thinking about that particular accident that happened. How come he didn't have $200 in his account before? Now the transaction was cancelled, yet he still had that $200 in his account. That same curiosity that landed people into trouble would not let Dan rest that night. So as he was going home that night, he stopped by another ATM and tried the same trick. This time again, the ATM told him that the transaction was cancelled, yet when he checked his bank account, the account kept going up and adding and adding. So Dan discovered a trick that this must be a glitch, so he was ready to take advantage of this trick. Now feeling bold, he pushes it further, $500, then $600, just to test the limit. By the end of that first night, he's already spent about $2,000 technically. That was never his own. The next day, sober and thinking clearly, the real experiment now begins for Dan. Dan figured out that the glitch worked best between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., exactly when the system goes offline for maintenance. During that window, the ATM would dispense cash, but the transaction wouldn't properly register on the bank's mail system. This was what Dan discovered. So Dan built a routine. Every night before 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., he would transfer larger and larger amount between his credit and savings account, essentially manufacturing money out of nowhere, and then withdraws it the next day like it was legitimately his own money. So for the next 4.5 months, Saunder stopped being a bartender. Saunder became a baller, from a bartender to a baller. Private jet, he flew friends to a remote island in Asia for a single weekend. The flight alone cost him $90,000. He ate at restaurants where one bill exceeded what people earn in a month. He once paid for an entire restaurant dinner, every table, just because he could. By the time it all unraveled, reports claimed that Dan had accessed close to $1.6 million. Though later investigation suggests that the actual cash physically withdrawn was closer to about $356,000. Dan himself estimated that the money was close to $500,000. Either way, for a man who had $3 to his name months earlier, that's still an insane amount of money to have. One time, the bank staff actually called Dan to ask why he attempted to withdraw $900,000 from ATM the night before. Dan casually told them that, I was just drunk, probably, hit the wrong button and all of that. It was just a mistake. So less than 3 months into the spending spree, the weight started crushing him. Dan started getting fat over money that he did not own. And then he started having panic attack, so severe that in one of the Sydney's hotel lobby, just when he was about to pass out, a doctor saw him and came to his rescue. He was taking Valium just to function. And he had nightmares of SWAT team busting into his hotel room. Every single day, he woke up expecting that day was going to be the last day that he was going to get caught. Imagine living under that kind of weight in your heart. And strangely, when nobody came, when the days turned into weeks and weeks turned into months, Dan admitted that even the silence hurt worse than if he had just been caught immediately. The guilt kept compounding. This guy had no peace anymore. So he faced a serious question alone, like, should I just take this money and go somewhere and disappear and start living a new life or something, or become someone else, or never come back to this country? At this point, Dan stopped transferring. He stopped transferring to himself. He called the bank and confessed everything. And guess what happened? Nothing. For 3 years, the bank just threatening legal action against him, but they never actually made any move. And after he got tired of waiting for a judgment day that never arrived, Dan went to the media himself.
I found a glitch in the National Australia Bank.
Not that he was chasing fame, but because he didn't want his story told without him in it. He never wanted anybody to tell his story on his behalf. He appeared on the Australian program, A Current Affair, and laid it all out for everybody to see. Eventually, the law caught up with him. Dan was charged with obtaining money by deception, legally classified as larceny by the finding. He pleaded guilty to all of it all. In 2015, Dan Saunders was sentenced to 12 months in prison plus 18 months under community corrections and ordered to repay the bank $250,000. So let me ask you, if you walk into an ATM and you try to withdraw money and you discover that the ATM had a glitch that can allow you to withdraw money limitlessly, what will you do?
Go and ask your grandfather.